how you see yourself is going to be how you see the world, right? You call it self-esteem, right?
Okay.
So the question is, do they feel like they really matter or not? And so one of the things we do in our class for automotive sales coaches, we talk to guys, we want to remind you who you are, that who you are matters, what you do matters, and how you do it matters. It doesn't just matter to you, but just think it, Luke, in your own life. The better you are, does it affect people around you?
Oh, yes.
Right, who?
100%. My family, my parents, my siblings,
So it matters,
friends.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Your
It
decisions.
ripples out. It's a rippling effect.
Exactly right. So it matters. So the first thing that we want to remind you, top performing people realize that their actions have consequences, good and what?
Bad.
And so do inaction. Not doing what you're supposed to do has consequences, good and bad. So top performers see themselves as making a difference, right? That they matter. Now, let's just break that down. Why do some people don't believe they matter? There's this thing that says, I believe everybody has this flame inside to be better than they are. They want to be better, right? So why aren't they doing what it takes to be better? What happened to that self-esteem that allowed that flame? Because in a lot of people, it seems like that flame has gone from here to it's almost out, right?
Yeah.
And that's where you find a lot of people with great potential that aren't hitting it, all right? I'm going to tell you something. Over time, our own failures and our own mistakes do what to our belief system and ourselves? It just kind of shrinks it, right? So somebody who screws up a lot or has made mistakes or past mistakes, that flame gets smaller and smaller. And, I'm not an A person. I'm a C minus. They start accepting where they're at. It's one thing.
Yeah.
Worse is the failures we have is one thing. Worse is the things that other people do to us or say to us, right? Like you're the last guy picked for dodgeball. What do you start thinking about yourself after time, right?
Yeah.
Or your mom says, I wish you were as good as your brother. How come you can't get the grades your brother got? And your flame goes down and down. So other people have impacted how we see ourselves. Our successes and failures have impacted how we see ourselves. And some people just wake up and what happens? They're in a place where they're just trying to get through the day. They're not trying to make an impact on the world. They're not trying to be better than they are. So you mentioned what separates people from that action and inaction. You're right. Self-esteem does that and how they see themselves. And I'd like to tell you how we see everybody. We see everybody from automotive sales coach. Everybody sits in front of us, whether a success or not a success at this point. We don't see past failures. We don't see past successes, right? We see the person in front of us with unlimited potential. We see people through the eyes of God from Psalm 8 that says man was created in the image of God, made just a little bit lower than an angel, given dominion over the whole earth. That's pretty powerful, right? That you've been given dominion. And I think that everybody who's sitting in front of us has unlimited potential if they would just decide to choose it. You find the low performers are always talking about why they can't, but they're not saying, I'm not good enough. They're blaming on others, when really internally, they know that they're not good, right? But they'll say, this manager or this guy or this person is keeping me from what? From being what I want.
Successful, yeah.
That's a sign of low self-esteem. That's a sign of somebody who doesn't believe in me. Somebody who blames their failures on what? Everybody else. Once somebody decides, if it's going to be, it's up to me, that old saying, and they decide to take personal responsibility for themselves, for their own knowledge, for their own skill, and for their own actions, once they take that responsibility, guess what? They stop looking at other people and they start looking at themselves. When they focus on themselves, improving themselves, the other people don't seem to influence them that much, and they believe in themselves more. And if they believe in themselves more, they do what? They act more. They follow through more. Let's talk about that. Let's go back though to the thinking. Like you said, that blaming other people is kind of perpetuating the cycle, right? So this takes us to one of our major components that we teach in automotive sales coach, is that Solomon said the way a man thinks he is. And what he was saying is the way we think determines how we act. The way I think about myself determines how I act, right? And our actions create our results. So bad thinking, what happens? Bad actions, bad results. Bad results tell our thinking what? You see, I can't make it, and you're right. It keeps going around. It's even bigger than that. Because bad thinking leads to bad actions, and bad actions over and over become bad habits. Bad habits form a bad character, and that's the outcome of life. That feeds back into that, right? So we want to break that cycle, right? How do you break that cycle? You know what? How we break that cycle is knowledge. people that live in fear, the only way to eliminate fear is with truth, with knowledge. We want people to see who they can be, who they were made to be, and what their potential is. And I'm gonna tell you something. I haven't met anybody who's a lost cause. I haven't met anybody that's a lost cause. Everybody has the opportunity to be better today than they were yesterday. And once they believe that and see that, and they take personal responsibility for that, for their knowledge and their actions, they'll begin to grow. And the more they grow, their thinking changes, and what happens? Their actions change, their results get better, so that does what to their thinking again, right? And you're right, that cycle continues, right?